A fiercely independent woman almost became a victim of her own image. Listers like Deepika Padukone and Karan Johar for police questioning. Journalists are often accused of demanding accountability of others.
Views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal, and do not reflect the views of any organization.
Namaskar, hello and welcome friends once again to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Happy Gudi Padwa, Shubh Navratra, Happy Eid Mubarak to all of you. It's a festive weekend, a long weekend, but this video blog is one which is not so festive. Instead, it goes to the very heart of the profession, my friends, that I've been part of for 3.5 decades and counting. In that sense, it's one of the most important video blogs that I'm about to talk to you about. Journalists are often accused of demanding accountability of others, but rarely turning the searchlight within. This week, when a large amount of cash was seized from the home of a sitting Delhi High Court judge, there was justifiable outrage on many television networks. Who will judge the judges? Fulminated indignant news anchors. 24 hours later, the Central Bureau of Investigation quietly filed a closure report in the Sushant Singh Rajput suicide case, saying there was no evidence of any foul play. This time, though, there was no outrage in the media, no noisy debate on the implications of the CBI report, when the truth is the nation wants to know, or certainly the nation ought to know, whether there will be any mea culpa from those who had launched the most vicious, malicious character assassination campaign against Rhea Chakraborty, Sushant Singh's girlfriend. Mea culpa meaning I accept my guilt. Now remember Rhea, the young woman who suddenly found herself in the midst of a raging controversy when Sushant Singh Rajput, a talented Hindi film star, was found dead in his Mumbai home in June 2020. For weeks and months, Rhea and her family were hounded, accused of being involved in some insidious manner with the mysterious death of Sushant. Initially, the primetime TV narrative suggested that Rhea and family were guilty of abetment to suicide. Then it was claimed that this was actually a case of murder, a conspiracy in which Rhea was a prime suspect. From being accused of being a gold digger who had an eye reportedly on Sushant Singh's money, to being then even targeted as a drug dealer and part of a global drug cartel, the campaign against Rhea was malicious and unrelenting in the media. She was accused by some channels of black magic. Others referred to her as a chudel and in other abusive terms. Social media was even worse. A systematic and sustained campaign was launched to seek justice for Sushant by making Rhea the prime culprit. Nothing was proven. All charges have now been found to be baseless. And yet, such was the media frenzy at the time that Rhea was arrested and spent a month in Baikala jail, if only to feed this ravenous 24/7 news media cycle. Today, my friends, almost 5 years later, Rhea has been cleared and declared innocent of any involvement in Sushant Singh's tragic death. But her nascent film career is almost finished. Her younger brother was due to go abroad to do an MBA in a prestigious university in the US. But the Narcotics Control Bureau investigation scorched his dream forever. Rhea's father was an army doctor who had served the country's soldiers with distinction for 25 years. And yet he too was not spared by the wolf pack in the media, the very media that claims to be nationalistic. A middle class professional family was ruined by a cabal of rogue news anchors. I repeat, rogue news anchors whose singular intent at the time was to create a television rating point or TRP drama that would garner more eyeballs and also act as a weapon of mass distraction. Recall, this was an enormously fraught, difficult period, as the rapidly spreading COVID virus in 2020 had pushed the country into an unprecedented national lockdown. Cooped up in their homes because of social distancing rules, people were desperately looking for some kind of comfort. When the media should have been guiding them in a health emergency, a section of the news media chose to titillate them with the worst kind of voyeurism in the name of so-called investigative journalism. And what was this investigative journalism? WhatsApp messages of Rhea in conversation with filmmaker Mahesh Bhatt were put out in the public domain in brazen violation of privacy rules, only to create a prurient discourse that had absolutely no tangible connection with the Sushant Singh Rajput case. From dragging in Shiv Sena UBT leader Aditya Thackeray, who was then a minister in the Maharashtra government, to even roping in Bollywood A-listers like Deepika Padukone and Karan Johar for police questioning. Every attempt was made by these hyperventilating anchors to create a primetime reality show to divert attention and push in alternate agendas when the country was going through the trauma of COVID related deaths. What could be more shameful, my friends? In a sense, the Rhea case marks a particularly low point in the moral abyss that has confronted news television in recent years. There is much to admire about live TV news. The zeal and passion with which stories are reported from different corners of the country can be addictive and even at times ensure a measure of accountability. Unlike a previous era, there is no place to hide from the camera any longer. At the same time, this intrusive camera is a double-edged sword. It sheds light, but it can also hurtle into a snake pit of darkness and toxicity, where the lines between what is right and wrong are wholly and deliberately blurred. The plight of Rhea Chakraborty highlights to my mind how many news networks in this country have lost their moral compass in a maddeningly competitive universe. The private news TV revolution that began so promisingly in the mid 1990s has been almost devoured by those who have chosen to tread an amoral path where sense is replaced by sensation and news by noise. Rhea was trapped in this web of malice and, dare I say, misogyny. A fiercely independent woman almost became a victim of her own image. She was projected almost as the perfect vamp like figure for a media ecosystem that neatly divides the world into heroes and villains. Sushant was the rising star, an innocent boyfriend who was being manipulated, it appeared, by an evil woman. It's the kind of familiar storyline that was ideal fodder for a TV soap opera that was masquerading as news. Which brings me, my friends, to the original question I asked. Will those who damned and villainized Rhea actually ever be held accountable? Because this isn't just a simple case of individual defamation. Journalists, myself included, may get a story wrong and periodically have to apologize for incorrect information. But the Rhea case, my friends, wasn't just about wrongful journalism. It was a willfully malevolent attempt to destroy the life and reputation of a defenseless woman who wasn't even given a chance to tell her side of the story. So let me tell you what happened. I recall interviewing a tearful but stoic Rhea in August of 2020. It was a time when the monsoon was in Mumbai. I got a call from Rhea's lawyer, someone whom I knew for years. And he told me, I was in my siesta at the time, and he woke me up and said, "Would you like to interview Rhea Chakraborty?" Now, I had never met Rhea until that moment. And I said, why not? It seemed to me like the kind of scoop that any journalist would want. And therefore, remember, when COVID rules were in place, I took a spice jet flight that was full and was seated in the middle row between two migrants who were coming from different parts of the country to Mumbai. And because I was in the middle row, I had to wear a PPE kit. I reached the lawyer's office at midnight. I met Rhea there, and the interview began at about 12:30 in the night. We spoke for a couple of hours. It was the first time, my friends, anyone had spoken and actually listened to Rhea Chakraborty. But instead of seeing that interview as a purely legitimate journalistic exercise, I was repeatedly attacked on social media for allegedly providing Rhea with cover fire. It was only the support of the India Today TV management, to their credit, that offered me some respite and allowed Rhea Chakraborty to have her say on national TV. Today, 5 years on, my stand has been vindicated. Well, sort of. More importantly, though, Rhea Chakraborty's courage in the face of a terrible personal trauma has finally seen a glimmer of hope. But closure will only come when those who venomously targeted her are made to pay a price. This cannot simply be a case of public amnesia that allows the news wheel to quickly move on to the next big story. The incessant hounding of Rhea must become an example of what must never be repeated if credibility and public faith in the news media is to be restored, especially TV news. Rhea Chakraborty won't ever get back the last 5 years of her life, but she deserves her dignity to be returned to her. An unqualified apology from these rogue news anchors masquerading as journalists would be a good starting point. Think about it. That was the Straight Bat. Once again, hope you have a happy festive weekend. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such updates and videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind. Namaskar.